friends, so it is March 1st. Happy March, happy Women's History Month, happy everything that you're celebrating in March, whether it's middle grade March or March Mystery Madness, or just the fact that we're alive and healthy and have the opportunity to read books and discuss them here on the internet. Happy whatever it is that you're celebrating, and continue doing that. Today I'm just going to talk a little bit about the books that I want to read in March. And I'm a little embarrassed because I have this TBR that's been going. You know, I have this TBR project. So there are books on those two shelves that I'm intending to read sometime this year, not necessarily in a specific month. And so I've mentioned some of those to you, but not with any specific date in mind. So that's not what I'm embarrassed about. I have made these big TBR lists that I shared with you in January and February, and I haven't accomplished those. So some of the books that I mentioned in those previous videos that I haven't yet gotten to, I'm not going to mention them here again. Just if I get to them in March, then I'll share them with you, of course. But I'm not going to just keep recycling this list. The books that I mentioned in this video are books that I want to read and need to read for specific reasons, so they are my priority this month. So let's just say that. So aside from that, I'm excited about the books that I'm planning to read in March. I'm looking forward to almost all of them. So first, of course, the Run Right Reads book club is continuing. In January and February, we read one book each month. In March, we're getting back a little bit to our intense reading. Not really. In March, we are reading two books. So we are reading The Mermaid of Black Conch by Monique Roffey and The Lonely Londoners by Samuel Selvon. And I chose two books because I felt like one of them may be a little inaccessible and one of them may not be what everybody wants to read. So to participate in the Run Right Reads book club, you could read either one or both of the books and we can discuss them. So this month we're going to try something a little bit different in that we're going to be discussing the books at different times. So we're going to start with The Lonely Londoners, and we're going to discuss that at the middle of the month, and then this one at the end of the month. So I don't yet have my physical copy of The Lonely Londoners. I need to get on that so I can get it and get it read before, like, I think March 14th or so. So yeah, those are the books for the book club for this month. Aside from that, I'm judging the BookTube prize, and I have 6 books that I need to read. And I started reading 2 of the books in February, and I haven't finished either of them yet. So I'm going to need to double down and finish all 6 novels before March 30th, which is when the octafinals ballots are due. So that's my focus right now. I have other things that I want to read and would love to read very soon, but I need to focus on my BookTube prize reading, so everything else kind of has to take a back seat until I at least read most of those and I can kind of relax. But those are not all my reading goals, right? So I also want to participate in a couple of buddy reads. I am buddy reading Zero Fail, The Rise and Fall of the Secret Service by Carol Leoning. I'm going to be buddy reading this with my ladies, Patrice and Doris and Heidi, and we're going to be chatting about this big book sometime in March, so we're looking forward to that. I'm also buddy reading a novel by Willa Cather, My Antonia. I'm going to be reading that with a friend from Instagram, and so we'll be chatting about that as well. Those are the only 2 buddy reads that I have scheduled right now that I know the titles of. I occasionally read books with Columbus and Rosalie, so we may have a title in this month as well. I don't know yet, but if we do, usually we read at a really manageable pace. So I feel like I could squeeze that in anytime. So those are 3 reading projects that I am participating in: book club, BookTube prize, buddy reads. I'm also reading for this Facebook challenge that I participate in, and I've read most of the books, the 10 books that I selected for the first round. I've read 8 of the books so far, so I still have Reading Lolita in Tehran, a memoir by Azar Nafizi, and King Lear by Shakespeare. I still have these 2 to read, so hoping to get to these in March. The challenge doesn't end until April, so I still have time, but I would love to do the bonus round of that challenge, and you can only start the bonus round after you finish the first round. So if I finish all my other reading commitments, that's kind of pleasure challenge reading for me. Middle grade March is what I'm participating in. I know Mystery Madness is big. If I get through a round of middle grade March, then maybe I'll try to sneak in a mystery somewhere there. I don't think any of the novels that I have to read otherwise have mysteries in them. So middle grade March is what I'm participating in. And if you're new to hearing about middle grade March, then definitely go check out Krista over at Books and Jams. She has a fantastic recommendations video with collaborations or clips from other YouTubers, other booktubers sharing their middle grade recommendations. So it's a fantastic resource, and I'll link it down below if I remember. So the prompts for middle grade March are a book that has more than 5 words in the title, and for that I'm going to try to read Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I think that's the beginning of the Little House on the Prairie series, and I haven't yet read the series, so I'm going to start with the first book, which I think has 6 words in the title. Then there's a prompt to read a book. Hi, Pumpkin, come say hi.
Hi.
They can't see you yet. If this come up, say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Those are your friends? Those are your friends.
I'm hungry.
That's her favorite phrase. I hope. God, she has food in her mouth. Don't believe her when she says she's hungry. She likes to say that. So, 5 words for middle grade March. First prompt is a book that has more than 5 words in the title, and for that I'm hoping to read the first in the Little House on the Prairie series, which is Little House on the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Next is a book that has an orphan main character, and I started reading Anne of Green Gables series. So the next book in the series I think is Anne of Avonlea. So L.M. Montgomery. I'm hoping to read that, and I'm just picking these because these are books that I've been wanting to read for a long time anyway. The next prompt, I'm going to try to double up. The next 2 prompts are a contemporary book and a book with an Asian setting or an Asian main character. And so I found this book called The Whole Story of a Half a Girl by Veera Hiranandani, who is a story about a mixed girl who's of Jewish and Indian parentage. And it's a contemporary novel, so I'm going to read that to hit 2 prompts. And then a book that's older than you. I've been wanting to read more of the Newbery Medal books, and so I picked one that was a lot older than me, so you guys will figure out my age just by me picking this one. And it is Mildred Taylor's Roll of Thunder, Hear Me Cry, or Hear My Cry. And I think Mildred Taylor is an African-American writer, so I've been wanting to read her writings, and so this is a fantastic time to do so. So I have 4 middle grade books that I'm hoping to read in March as well. And then books that I have to read because publishers sent them to me and I need to review them by a specific date in March, or I just want to read them soon because they are...
I'm so high.
Hi. Say hi. Those are your friends.
Hi.
Yeah. You came to say hi? To me or to them? Both?
For your
So these are books that publishers sent me, and I have a review scheduled in March. So of those, I have Warrior Sister, Cut Yourself Free by Jennifer DeBellis. And this is pretty short. It's about 140 pages, and some of it is kind of guided journal. So I'm going to read this. I asked to be included in the publicity tour being organized by TLC Book Tours because I feel like this is just an important subject that we should all be aware of, like how to recognize abuse and how to help someone who's being abused, even if you're not being abused yourself. I'm not. But I work with teenage girls and I have friends, and I'm sure there have been times where I've known people who were being abused and maybe they didn't feel comfortable talking to me because they didn't feel like I could share. So I want to prepare myself for if there's ever anyone in my life who I need to be a resource for. So I'm reading that book. And another one is Who Are You Following? This one is Pursuing Jesus in a Social Media Obsessed World. This is by Sadie Robertson Huff, and I think this one is pretty much what it says it is, so looking forward to that. And then Something Good by Vanessa Miller. This one is a novel, and Thomas Nelson Publishers. And this one is a little more dense. This is 340 pages. Also, Joan is Okay by Wiki Wang. I also have a Bear Grylls memoir, Never Give Up My Life in the Wild, a new autobiography. This one is being released by National Geographic. Also got this because of my connection at TLC Book Tours. And I love the National Geographic books. And I'm fascinated by some of the work that Bear Grylls does, because as a leader in our youth group, I help teach the kids survival skills, but nothing to the level of Bear Grylls' survival mode. So I'm interested to see what he has to say about his life in the wilderness. You know, when he goes out, not that he lives there all the time. Oh, one more. And Edward and Annie, which is a picture book that I'm going to be reading with my daughter, written by Karen Rivadeneira and illustrated by Katie Tanis. And my daughter and I am going to be reading this one because hopefully in March it will be warm enough for us to maybe go outside and see more of the animals and talk a little bit about nature. So this one's about an aquarium. I don't know if we'll go to an aquarium in March, but yeah, that's what I'm going to be reading in March. Would love to chat with you down in the comments. Let me know what you're reading, what you're prioritizing, what you're anticipating, and if you're participating in any of the big readathons in March, which ones. And yeah, so let's chat down there. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Let's chat in the comments, and until next time, happy reading. Bye. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Those are your friends? Hi. Okay, go watch Blippi. Mommy's gonna come. Blippi's skating. Go learn how to skate. She learns everything else on the internet, so why not learning how to skate?